Cooey! Let's talk about solo travel. I absolutely love traveling on my own. If you haven't tried it, I think you should, and here are 5 reasons why. Number 1, you can do whatever you want. You might think, yeah, no shit, like obviously I can do whatever I want. When you break it down, not having to rely on someone when you're traveling is a massive game changer. When you're traveling with someone, there's somebody else's needs and wants that need to be taken into consideration. Obviously, you're not a dick, or maybe you are. But when you're traveling on your own, it's just your stuff. You're the only person that you need to worry about. For example, maybe you've had a really rough night's sleep, you're not feeling great, you're tired, you want to sleep in a little bit, but your friend wants to get up at the crack of dawn and start exploring the city. Or maybe you're finding that your friend is really interested in the history of places and you're not really into that, and you'd rather go and, I don't know, spend time walking in a forest. You know, there's lots of different considerations and conversations that need to be had when you travel with someone. But when you travel on your own, you can be as flexible as you want to be. That not only includes daily activities, but also if you get to a place and you're not really getting anything out of it, you don't really like it there, you kind of feel like you've seen enough and you want to move on, you can absolutely do that. Or equally, if you get to a place and you're absolutely loving it and you've made some cool friends and you want to stay there a bit longer, there's no conversation that needs to be had. You just decide, yep, that's what I want to do, I'm doing it. There was someone that just walked past. Reason number 2 is meeting new people and making connections. Now, it might sound a bit sort of counterproductive because you're going traveling on your own, but then you're meeting all of these new people. But that is the beauty of traveling on your own, is that you have the choice. If you want to spend most of your traveling trip literally on your own, you can do that. I have found that when I'm traveling with someone, sometimes you can get caught up in your own little bubble. Whereas when I'm traveling on my own, I'm seeking out people more. From my experience, I just know that when I travel with a friend or a partner, I'm a lot less likely to interact with new people. I get caught up in that person and the interactions that I'm having with them. And I'm not sort of scouting for new people. Whereas when I'm on my own, there are conversations that happen with new people, sometimes purely just because that person has seen that I'm on my own and they strike up a conversation. For example, I went on a little backpacking trip around Ireland last year for about 12 days. It was absolutely amazing. And there was one restaurant one night that I went to, and up until this point, I'd spent a lot of the trip on my own. Yeah, there was this one night that I went for a meal on my own. I went to this really nice Japanese restaurant, and there was a lady that was serving me. She was really nice, and I wanted to go out for a few drinks afterwards. And so I asked her, you know, what bars are there around here that you would recommend, or, you know, that would be good for me sort of as a solo traveler to maybe meet some people. And so she gave me a few suggestions of some places, one of which was actually a whiskey bar. And I told her that I really like to drink whiskey. And it was like 2 minutes around the corner from my hostel. And so I went there. Long story short, I ended up meeting these 3 Irish guys, and they invited me out with them, and we went to this club, and we ended up having like an absolute blast, such an amazing night. And you know, I truly don't believe all of that would have happened if I had gone traveling with someone, because, you know, going out for a meal with someone, you kind of just get caught up, you know, in conversation with that person. You're not always seeking to, you know, have these conversations with new people. So yeah, that was an absolutely amazing night, like one of the best nights of my trip, actually. You know, and also thinking about the trip that I made to Australia when I was 22, I had only been in Australia for about a week and a half when I met my friend Lena. We were both staying in the same hostel room, and there was one night we ended up going out. I think we ended up going out for a few drinks, maybe something to eat. And we got on so well that we decided to go on a little road trip together. I think we were gone for about 12 days in total. And that was like 10 years ago, and we're still friends. So it really is like amazing, because you end up meeting all of these people from around the world. I really do believe that some of the friendships that I've made, probably all of the friendships I've made actually, I wouldn't have made, or they wouldn't be as strong as they are if I had been traveling with someone. Number 3 is building confidence. I genuinely believe that traveling solo is such an amazing way to grow as a person and build up your confidence. You know, you have to problem solve all the time. Things don't always go the way that you think they're gonna go. And I think when you're traveling with someone, you have someone else to bounce off of, and yeah, that can be great. But when you're on your own, it teaches you how to problem solve, and it teaches you a lot about yourself. And I know that solo traveling feels very scary and very intimidating for a lot of people. But once you start doing it and you realize, oh, actually I can do this, and this was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, that is just another notch on your confidence. And all of a sudden you're doing these things that you just, you know, I think about, I'd been in Australia for maybe a month when I got a job in a pharmacy. You know, I got there and quickly realized that my money was dwindling. And so I got a job in a pharmacy, and, you know, I remember my first day getting to Australia and arriving at the airport. I didn't know anyone. I was 22, I was on my own. And I was like, right, the first thing I need to figure out is how do I get from the airport to my hostel? And, you know, I worked out how to do that, got on a bus and etc, etc. Got to the hostel and immediately felt a sense of accomplishment, because I was like, oh my God, I didn't know how to do this thing, and I did it. And then a month down the line, I'm getting up every day, leaving my hostel, getting on a train, going to my job, coming home, going to the supermarket, getting all the bits I need, going to the hostel, cooking dinner. I'm doing all these things. I'm just sort of living my life. And a month before that, I was on a plane shitting a brick about the fact that I was going to the other side of the world on my own. Number 4 is introspection. Traveling alone, I just feel it gives you space, and it gives you time to think about what it is you want from life, or maybe not even like those big questions. It doesn't have to be this groundbreaking thing. I think there is this expectation that you go traveling to figure out who it is you are and what it is you want from your life. And yeah, those questions might crop up, and you might come up with answers to them, you might not, but it just gives you space to breathe, honestly. You know, we're always so busy. We interact with people all the time, on our phones all the time. She says, filming a YouTube video. I think what it does do is it gives you a chance to recharge your energy and just kind of better understand yourself. When I went to Ireland, I spent a lot of time hiking in nature, and it was honestly so amazing. Like I felt really like I could just breathe. It just gave me space and time. And yeah, sometimes I don't want to be talking to people all the time. I find it quite, like, I can get quite drained by that. Heard this really interesting analogy once, and I can't remember where I heard it or who said it, but they talked about introverts, and an introvert will go to a party with a bag of coins, and every time they interact with someone, they spend a coin, and so by the time they've left the party, their bag is empty. Whereas extroverts will go with an empty bag, and every interaction that they have, they gain a coin. And so I found that really interesting, because I would say I'm probably more introvert. It's not one or the other, you know, you can be both. But I would say I am more introvert. And so sometimes I do find social interactions can drain my energy. And so it just felt like a really great way to recharge. Number 5 is exploring different versions of yourself. I heard Aurora, the singer, talking once about when you are constantly around the same people and you go to the same bars, etc., etc., you become the version of you that they know. You kind of, they put you in a box, and sometimes we can put ourselves in a box. We have this idea of the person that we are, and I think sometimes that can be quite limiting. And so when you go traveling on your own and you're meeting all of these people, there's no one there, they're new people, you know, there's no one there that has expectations of you, or, you know, they have this version of you in their mind. You get to be different versions of yourself all the time, and these experiences, you're having new experiences all the time, you know, and they're shaping you. I think it's really important to kind of break away from normality and have these experiences. I just think that traveling on your own gives you the freedom to explore yourself better. So I do feel like there are so many more things that I could talk about in regards to solo travel, so many more benefits, but I'm going to leave it there, otherwise it's going to end up being like a crazy long video. If you're fortunate to be able to travel, I really do think that you should travel on your own at least once. I think a lot of people would be surprised at how much they enjoy it and how much they get out of it. I think maybe there is this misconception that it's just incredibly lonely. And don't get me wrong, there have been times when I've been traveling and I've had a few days consecutively, or sort of a day here, a day there, of feeling alone. But I feel like that's just part of life. And I do also feel like it's important to feel lonely, because then when you have those interactions, they mean so much more. I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but you know, cliches are cliches because they're true. Anyways, thanks for watching. Okay, bye.